4 days since it was announced Appledore shipyard is to close, the operators Babcock say it's offering its 200 workers the chance of relocation in other parts of the business. 140 are already on short-term redeployment to Babcock's operation at Devonport Dockyard. Last week on the show we heard from Heathcliffe Pettifer, regional officer with the Unite Union, just ahead of a petition going to Westminster. And my word, Heathcliff, didn't things move quickly after we spoke last?
They did, Gordon. Good morning, and thanks for having me back on again.
You're very welcome.
Yes, they did. I got a telephone call from Babcock last Thursday, shortly before they spoke to the workers from Appledore that were in Plymouth in Devonport, to inform me that they didn't intend to renew the lease for the shipyard. They were going to exercise their right to a break clause, which effectively means the end of work in the shipyard, although there's been no actual work. I think it's important to understand there's been no work in the shipyard for some months now, but the workforce continue to be transported to Devonport, and there's some still left in Appledore, and we've got to now, I think, sit down and decide what we're going to do about this, really.
Is there any potential light here? Because I know that a lot of people will be working hard behind the scenes, particularly over the weekend, to try and find a better outcome for workers. Is there anything positive you can tell us, Heathcliff?
Well, of course, Gordon, after we spoke last week when we was kind of so optimistic about what we might be able to achieve, there was, we thought, a glimmer of hope. But then, as you say, the news came very quickly afterwards that Babcock don't intend to continue shipbuilding in Appledore. What I think we've got to immediately do is try to ameliorate the effects of the yard closure. We had a planning and strategy meeting with our workplace reps on Friday morning. It wouldn't be right for me to disclose exactly what we discussed there, because I expect we've got a couple of coaches full of Appledore workers on their way to Plymouth as we speak, probably listening to the show. But the reps are going to meet this morning. We've got a mass meeting with the Appledore workforce in Devonport this morning, and then the reps are immediately going to meet with the reps from Devonport just to discuss, what might happen. And this is really, Gordon, this is about some simple questions, really, that we still haven't got answers from the government or from Babcock about whether it's right or wrong that the government delayed the contract process for the Type 31Es, whether it's right or wrong that the government wouldn't guarantee that the new fleet solid support ships for the Royal Navy won't automatically be built in the UK. They seem to have got this ideological obsession with fair international competition, so they're opening that up for worldwide competition. Is it right or wrong that they won't give a hand up to Appledore and we'll lose 160 years of skills and traditions, and the local economy, of course, will take a nosedive? And is it, I think this is really important too, is it right or wrong that the UK will now lose another sovereign capability to build ships in our own country?
I want to be, if I can, Heathcliff, I want to try to be fair to Babcock's, because they have publicly stated their priority is redeployment within the firm of the workers that will be affected by this. Does that give a glimmer of hope in any way?
Yeah, of course, and I've been clear, Gordon, throughout my conversations with Babcock and with anyone from the government and from the shadow team that we've spoken to over the last week or two. Babcock have been very, in terms of their employment relationship with our workforce, they've been very good, and they've gone above and beyond what we'd expect normal employers to do. We negotiated the mobility agreement for our workers there to travel down to Devonport to keep them gainfully employed, because we recognised that there would be a trough in the workload. But as I said to you last week, this hasn't fallen out of the sky. This hasn't just suddenly happened. This has been on the cards for months and years, and it's just very disappointing that the government and Babcock weren't able to sit and have that grown-up conversation about how they could plug that gap. And I firmly believe, and I think this is shared by Geoffrey Cox, and hope to have seen Geoffrey at the weekend at his surgery, but he couldn't fit us in at short notice, unfortunately. But he was on TV last week as saying that we mustn't let the the shipyard die without a major fight, and I think that's what we intend to do.
Would you, again, and I'll repeat this, and you followed this up today from when I said it last week, Heathcliff, keep us up to date, obviously for the general news stories, but for those people that were on the bus from North Devon to Devonport today, for those people that we've heard from on this programme, from those that I saw on Spotlight last week, you know, when you see the faces as well as hearing the voices of people in the town of Appledore, and how sad, how distraught they were about the shipyard. There are a lot of people who are interested in this story, obviously apart from those who are directly affected. So we'd love to keep in touch with you. Is that okay?
I'd be delighted, and thank you for having us back on again, Gordon, and just to shed a bit more light on this, because it's a story that's not going to go away, I think.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for your time, Heathcliff, and we wish everyone well.
Thank you, Gordon.
You're more than welcome. Heathcliff Pettifer, who is the regional officer with the Unite Union, and we will keep you up to date here on BBC Radio Devon.